Yeah, y'all know I was going to be at some point covering this classic of a Christmas movie, the original Miracle on 34th Street. Now, I have seen this movie before, once. I think it was like a few years ago. And I remember really loving this film. So I decided to rewatch it for my Disney in December review series that I'm going to be doing all throughout the month of December. And I was like, will my thoughts change on this movie? And that was something that I got to asking myself. And here are my thoughts. Now, if you guys don't know the basic premise of Miracle on 34th Street, an elderly gentleman is hired as a department store Santa Claus for Macy's. He claims his name is Kris Kringle, and soon ends up filling everyone with the Christmas spirit. Except for his boss, George Walker. When Kris is declared insane and put on trial, everyone's faith is put to the test, as old and young alike asks the age-old question, do you believe in Santa Claus? That is essentially the plot of the movie. It's essentially, okay, so like throughout the whole movie, you have this guy, Kris Kringle, who is played by Edmund Gwenn, and I will get real quick with this. He is a terrific Santa Claus in this movie. Now, throughout the film, you're kind of meant to question, is he really Santa Claus, or is he just insane, or is he just a nice guy? You know? What is his deal? What is Kris Kringle's deal here? And while they do give a answer at the end of the movie, it is still really up for the audience to decide whether or not he is truly Santa Claus, or is, any of the other options I mentioned there. Now, do I think he is Santa Claus in the context of the movie? My interpretation on whether or not he is Santa Claus or not, it's a yes or no question. No, he is not Santa Claus and that he is actually, the mythical figure of Santa Claus. But yes, in the fact that he does embrace the character in that. But he really does embrace the character of Santa Claus in that and everything like that. And yeah, so I think it's like a yes or no answer on that. But that's just my personal interpretation. I think he does embody a lot of what makes Santa Claus Santa Claus. And in some ways, that does make him Santa. Now, is he really the actual mythological icon of Santa? No, he's not. Again, it's a yes or no answer for me. But that's just my interpretation. You may have a totally different interpretation based on watching the film. You know what? I really like that angle. It's like, with this movie, is that you're trying to figure out, okay, is he Santa Claus? Is he not Santa Claus? Do you believe that he's Santa Claus? Oh, is Santa Claus even real? That's an interesting angle, especially for a film that, now I don't know if this is considered a kid's movie. I guess it is. For something for kids to really question, like, is Santa Claus real? Is he not? Does it even matter if he's real or not? And is this guy, this Kris Kringle guy, is he Santa Claus or what? And again, just like I mentioned before, the actor who plays Kris Kringle in this, Edmund Gwenn, is really good in this. He is charming, he is seemingly intelligent, he is kind and generous. He plays all the things that you would expect to see of a Santa Claus. And there's times where although there's some things with this version of Santa that kind of goes like, he kind of is a bit of, like, he does show some attitude in this movie. That's kind of something I like about him, is that he's not just all 100% all jolly and everything throughout the movie. There's times where he does get furious. Shows that he is still human. Whether he is the real thing or not, he is still human. Also, too, let's talk about the other cast members. You have Maureen O'Hara, which I'm not sure if she's related to Catherine O'Hara. I'll have to look into that. But as George Walker, who is Kris Kringle's boss, she's also pretty good in this movie. She's one of those people who is like, oh, I don't believe in fairy tales and I don't pass on fairy tales to my children and all that stuff, because she's more of a logical kind of person. She's more of like common sense type of person, all that stuff. And she feels like she doesn't want to be pushing this kind of nonsense on her daughter. But let's talk about her daughter real quick. Her daughter in the film, Susan Walker, is played by Natalie Wood, and she is also a really good child actress in this. And honestly, I know some people are going to compare this to the remake, which I will get to that at some point, maybe next December. I know in the remake she's played by Mara Wilson. Now here's the thing, who do I prefer, Natalie Wood or Mara Wilson? My personal opinion, I think I personally prefer Natalie Wood as this character, Susan Walker, over Mara Wilson. That's just my personal opinion. And then you have John Payne as Fred Galley. He is a lawyer who lives in the other apartment building where Doris and Susan Walker reside. Throughout the movie, he gets acquainted with the Walker family and everything like that. and is basically welcomed and everything. And then he is sent to represent Kris Kringle as a defendant, to essentially to defend Kris Kringle's case on whether or not he is insane or is truly Santa Claus. And I also do like John Payne in this movie. He plays a very likable character, and it's honestly, all these actors are very likable actors, and they play very likable characters. And throughout the movie, there's kind of this, he's kind of the exact opposite of Doris, where she is more logical, she is all this different stuff like I mentioned. He is more of whether or not he does believe in the stuff himself, he thinks it's good to have this source, quote unquote, nonsensical, fantasies and fairy tales and all that stuff to keep things lively, to keep things fun and everything like that. But over the course of the movie, he does kind of win, both him and Kris Kringle kind of win Doris over in regards of all that stuff. And also too, throughout the movie too, both Fred and Doris kind of start to have a bit of a romance throughout the movie. Now, it's not heavily focused on, and that's an issue I do have with the movie. I think they could have extended the movie a bit for certain things, maybe develop more of Doris's and Fred's romance and stuff like that, blooming romance. And, also too, maybe, I think there's also some things that could have been cut down as well. There's a lot of times throughout the movie where you're kind of characters question, is Kris Kringle really Santa Claus or is he just insane? I feel like would be the whole point of the courtroom scenes near the end of the movie, where Kris Kringle is sent to court and to determine whether or not he is Santa Claus or if he is insane and should be committed. I think honestly maybe they could have showed a few moments here and there throughout the film, but they do heavily focus on a lot of whether or not Kris Kringle is insane or if he's actually Santa Claus or just a nice elderly man. I don't know. Again, definitely I think they should focus more on the relationship between Kris Kringle and the Walker family, and also his relationship with Fred Galley. That's all nice and good, but then there's a lot of times where he's interacting with other characters who don't really get too much screen time or anything like that. While there's some nice moments here and there, I think they could have cut those out for pacing reasons, and maybe put that time into focusing on more stuff, like I mentioned, the blooming romance between Doris and Fred. They could have put more time in that instead of some of the other stuff. But yeah, I think they should cut some of that stuff out for pacing reasons. I think this film would have been a bit better. So if I were to give the original Miracle on 34th Street a rating, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, for the most part, my views on this movie have not changed. I still really love this movie. I consider it a Christmas classic. And while I have not made it a tradition to watch it every December, I may start doing so, because I love this movie. And honestly, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this movie. Do you love the original Miracle on 34th Street? Is it a Christmas tradition for you guys to watch every December? Or do you guys not like the movie at all? In fact, some of you guys despise the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again for another Disney in December review.